السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We thank all praises are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and those that came before him. Today we are going to start a new episode. This episode will drive us through talking about the lesson that we are going to learn from the noble chapter of the Quran, Suratul Yusuf, or the stories of Joseph. The Quran, when we learn the Quran, it's not all about listening to the beautiful recitation of the Quran, but the most important thing is to understand the meaning of the Quran and ponder and practice over the same reminders that the Quran tells us. So, like I earlier said, that we are going to learn, or we are going to have some lessons from the verse of the chapter, which is Surah Yusuf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in the Old Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لقد كان في قصصهم عبرة لأولي الألباب. Surely indeed, in the stories of the prophets, there are some lessons for people that understand. There are some lessons for people that want change. There are some lessons for people that want to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah continues to remind us to say, وَكُلٌّ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الرُّسُلِ مَا نُثَبِّتُ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ. That all the stories of the prophets that are related to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is to make firm your iman, is to strengthen or make your iman stronger. And that's why these stories are reminded and are told. So when you want to strengthen your iman, when you want your iman to be strong, when you want to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let us read about the stories of the prophets. Let us take time, read through, understand them, ponder over their meanings, and then practice them, which is one of the greatest virtue that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. The greatest virtue that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed this noble nation, noble ummah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So let us come, let us listen to these stories, and then from there, let us learn and change our lives. Who was Yusuf or Joseph? Joseph was the son to Jacob, and Jacob was the son to Ishaq or Isaac, and Isaac or Ishaq was the son to Abraham or Abram, who is the father of prophets, the friend to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now when we look closer, why have we chosen this surah? Why are we trying to learn lessons from this surah? It's because of the virtue and how this surah was revealed. This surah was revealed at the time when the Prophet ﷺ lost his beloved wife, a close friend, a close colleague that he would lean on, and his dear uncle, who was a father figure to him. When he lost them, he went to Taif, and he passed through a lot of tribulations. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in his mercy that he could not leave his most beloved prophet alone, but he came and revealed this noble surah. You can imagine this surah was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in its entirety. You know, when the surahs or in the chapters are revealed, they are revealed in a period of time. And then when the final chapters are revealed, that's when they gather them together and make a chapter. But in this case, the Surah Yusuf, the story of Joseph, it was revealed in its entirety. And the reason behind the revelation was to comfort the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam because of the hardship that he went through, because of the things that he was going through in the hands of his own people that were trying to persecute him, that were trying to kill him, that were trying to do bad things on him. And this is the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this honorable chapter, the whole chapter, to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to give him comfort, to give him where to lean on, to give him hope that whatever you go through, you should have patience, that any hardship that you go, they will come ease. And this was the reason why the Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this honorable chapter to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why, my dear respected brothers and sisters, whichever hardship you are going through, when you read the surah or this chapter of Suratul Yusuf, you come out smiling, because there's a lot of comfort. There's a lot of things that you find in this surah. There are a lot of things that you find that are happening in our lives. This same surah conforms to the happenings that are happening in our everyday life in this honorable surah. So come along, let us listen to the verses of this noble chapter of the Quran, and let's learn some lessons. What did Yusuf say to his father? إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت أحد عشر كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين. Yusuf says to his father, "Oh my dear father, have seen 11 stars, the moon, the sun and the moon prostrating before me." And what was the reply from his father? قال يا بني لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك فيكيدوا لك كيدا إن الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين. The father replied to his son and said, "Oh my dear son, do not relate your dreams to your brothers, lest they concoct against you, lest they plot against you. Surely indeed a devil is an open enemy to human being." So now, this is now the first lesson that we are going to learn from these ayats or these chapters, verses that I've recited. First one is father-son relationship, daughter-mother relationship, parents-children relationship. How do we relate to our children? How do we communicate to our children? Do you think if Jacob or Jacob was not in good books, was not communicating well with his son, was he going to relate his dreams to him? This is where the question comes in. How do we relate to our children? Do we sit them down, find out what they are going through? Do we even mind to know what grade they are doing? Do we even mind to know which people they are mingle around with? Or do we do the talking and they do the listening? We do the talking, they do the listening, and we do not give them chance to open up so that they tell us what they feel inside their hearts. It is a big, great responsibility being a father, and it is for this reason that let us be there for our children. Let us not be busy with our work, with our worldly lives, where we forget our own family. We do not know what is happening to our children. We do not know what they are going through. Let's take time, sit down with them, find out what they want, find out what is bothering them, and then you come there as a guidance and give them a solution. Do you want your children to find solace or relief in other people that will destroy them for good? No, this will never happen. This is the reason why we are having these reminders of these stories of the prophets, so that we can change. We can be the guidance that we are supposed to be to our families. And be very careful who you relate your dreams to. So when we have this time, when we have time for our children, when we sit them down and find out what they go through, then you'll be a good father to them. They'll be able to open up to you. Do not let them to harbor a lot of things in their hearts. If those things are too much for them and they happen to burst out, we'll have a big problem. So let us be there for our children. Let us know how we relate to them. Let us know how we communicate to them. And children, let us have respect to our parents. Let us know how we relate to them. Look at the way Yusuf called his father, "Oh my dear father." And look at the reply that he got from his father, "Oh my dear son." This is the way that we need to relate to these things. This is the way we need to communicate to our children. Let us not be the commandos in the house, where the children, if they see you, they don't feel peace anymore. They feel as if this is not their house anymore, because of the fear that you have imparted in them. Because you are not there with them, you are just busy shouting at them. You do not want to listen to them. You do not want to give chance to them. Therefore, you are opening door for evil to come in, to find people that will not actually impart them with good advices, but they will give them a way that will take away our children who will go astray. So it is a responsibility that we have as parents, that let us give our listening ear to our children, let us know what they go through, so that from there we guide them in the correct way, we guide them in the manner that will be pleasing to God, our Creator, as they grow up. That is the first lesson that we are learning from these noble verses of Suratul Yusuf. And then the second lesson is, you remember what the father replied to Yusuf. He said, Ya bunayya la taqsus ru'yaka ala ikhwatik fayakidu laka kaida. Oh my dear son, do not relate your dreams to your brothers, lest they plot against you. Surely indeed a devil is an open enemy to human beings. So when we look at this, the father is trying to tell him that be very careful who you relate your dreams to. Be very careful who you tell expectation to. Be very careful who you tell your successes or progress to. Be very careful who you tell your job promotions to. Be very careful, or be extra careful, who you tell your plans to. Because some people are enemies of progress. Some people do not want to see any progress in you. Some people are very dangerous. Some people do not want to see you succeed in life, but they want to see failure in you. The moment you open up to them, they will smile at you. They will be happy with you. But inside their heart, it is eating them up. It is eating them up to the extent that they will be thinking, they will have sleepless nights thinking what to do next. That they cannot let that happen. So let us be very careful as we open up to people. Let us not broadcast everything, whatever happens in our lives, to everyone. Be it your close friend or a close relative. You don't know who hates you. You don't know how envied people are. Every blessing that you should know is envied. I repeat, every blessing is envied. Let us be very careful with the blessing that we receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that let us not broadcast them, let us not open them anyhow to everyone that we think that they will be closer to us. It's because enviness was the first sin. Jealous and hatred was the first sin that took part, or that happened in heaven. We all know what happened to our father Adam alayhi salatu wasalam when the devil was commanded by God to prostrate before him. He said, I cannot prostrate before somebody that you are created with clay, and I'm better than him. That's where everything started. This is the more reason why when you harbor hatred, when you have jealousy and the enviness in your heart, the devil capitalizes. He would want you to take an action towards whatever you have been taught. That's why it is very important that let us not tell everyone what we expect to do. Let us not tell everyone whatever plans we have. Let us wait until it manifests on its own, because the devil is an open enemy. The devil will disguise himself into a very good friend that will come to you, so that you take an action, you take the next step. As you harbor that hatred in your heart, he will push you towards going somewhere that will try and close up everything for your friend. When we buy a new car, let us not be taken by happiness and post it on social media that I have this car. Otherwise, the evil eye is real. It will cut short your life. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us, لَوْ كَانَ فِي شَيْءٌ يُسْبِقُ الْقَدْرِ الْعَيْنِ. If there was anything that will take over your destiny, will take over whatever has been written to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is the evil eye. My dear respected brothers and sisters, the evil eye is real. Let us always take extra care of that. Let us not be taken by this world, by the social media and everything that we have in our disposal to expose out our family and invite evil in our lives. When you post your newly wedded couple or your newly wedded wife on the social media, do you think everyone is happy by seeing that? Do you know how many people are seeing that? Do you know how many people have been crying to have those marriages? Do you know how many people have been crying to have that husband of yours you have? Do you know how many people have been crying to have that wife you are posting to say today I've married? Do you know what is going through their hearts? And then when you find difficulties in your marriage, you don't have children for so many years, you should not blame anyone but blame yourself, because you open the door for the devil to come in. Like I said earlier, an evil eye is real. and it happens. Let us be extremely careful. Let us not be taken by this world, exposing everything that we have so that people should see. And this is the more reason why Jacob or Jacob advised his son to say, do not relate this to your brothers, because they will plot against you. This is exactly what happens. People are full of enemies of progress. A lot of people are enemies of progress that do not want to see any progress in your life. So let us have patience. Let us wait until it manifests on its own. Whatever we have, whatever good we receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let us be very careful on who we relate to, on who we tell. Let us not think everyone is our friend. But a lot of people do not want to see any progress in our lives. It is for this reason why that let us be extremely, extremely, extremely careful, that let us wait until it manifests, it comes out on its own, so that that's when people will see what blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. And remember, like I said earlier, any blessing that comes from Allah is envied by people. So it is for this reason, like I said, this is the first of each episode that will be reminding ourselves of this great surah as we go on, inshallah ta'ala, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us that we learn a lot, and most importantly, we start practicing on these lessons, because these are the things that are happening in our lives. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.